This 1 Degree Outside video is brought to you by FluidForm Bio, developing innovative 3D printing living pancreatic tissue to help combat type 1 diabetes. For the first time, you can join this visionary mission. Visit FluidFormBio.com or their page on Start Engine to learn more about this exciting work. It's good to be with you again for a Midweek Insights. Meteorologist Matt Noyes, 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. Actually, yesterday, I was out with our new partner, so you heard all about it at the start of the video, FluidForm Bio. If you haven't checked out the article yet, just go right to our homepage, 1degreeoutside.com. You'll still see the article linked there. This is like a first ever partnership where you've got a medical biotech innovator that's partnering with a weather company, and we're thrilled that that first ever is happening with us, thanks to FluidForm Bio. Actually, it's a really cool opportunity. You can actually invest in the company if you want to do that. That's all part of it. You'll see it all laid out in that web post, again, right at our homepage, 1degreeoutside.com. But really cool for like at least a U.S. first. Is it a world first? Maybe, but it's neat. It's science meets science, just from different realms. And that is what this is all about, is science. So let's dive into the science of meteorology today and at the next several days. Look, I'm going to bring you a brush fire and smoke update. We're going to talk about warmth building in the coming days. There is a pattern change that's ahead, and that's important to know about. Spring in New England. I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by that here in just a moment. All right, let's start out with fire and smoke. So everywhere you see a little red dot, there are brush fires, a bunch of them across the southeast, a bunch of them in the mid-Atlantic. You say, now that's a lot of smoke. I look out there, I see a blue sky today. Yeah, this is really thin smoke. A lot of it is extremely thin when it gets up here, but I'm going to show you about when I think it'll thicken up here in just a moment. We do have a number of red dots showing up here in New England and in upstate New York. There's not that many left anymore, but nonetheless, these are all brush fires that are burning right now. The smoke forecast here. Look, actually, the biggest culprit is a whole bunch of fires are going in Mexico. There's been a lot of hot and dry weather there. Now, as I mentioned, the southeastern United States has been seeing a number of fires as well. So there's a ton of smoke coming from the south. So as we get the warmer flow in the atmosphere that's more of a southerly wind, that transports the smoke in our direction. So you can see it really isn't anything to write home about here at home right now. That's why you can't even really see it. But as we get into late in the day tomorrow, we start to find that smoke increasing. That will still be with you again on Friday as you continue to get the warmth that comes in our direction. The only thing I'll say, this is not surface-based smoke, so for the most part, you won't smell it. It won't be like what we had last season, for example, at least not yet, but you'll at least be able to see it in the sky above. Meanwhile, I can also tell you our own brush fire danger, after being elevated today for the areas in yellow, does go up again during the course of Thursday. Not as big of an area that's covered with that elevated brush fire danger, but at least something to be aware of here. In terms of the jet stream pattern, this is the spring in New England that I was talking about. Watch what happens to the jet stream. I'm going to start with today, play it out into this weekend. So you start to get that southerly flow in the jet stream, brings in the warmth. It will bring in moisture, which does raise the chance of rain heading into the weekend. Go figure, right? That's kind of a common theme, it seems. But notice the trough, the dip in the jet stream that starts to carve out getting into the weekend. That will focus some of this moisture. The other thing it does, though, is it represents a lot of cold energy dropping down from Canada. Watch what happens going into early next week. That energy looks to cut off. In other words, it becomes somewhat removed from the jet stream flow, which either in the southern branches down to the south, or really the westerly winds are retreating back up to the north into Canada. This leaves this cold energy behind. I have to tell you, this really is, to some extent, screaming of a classic New England spring setup. When we had the kind of showery weather in April, a lot of folks were saying to us, look, is this how the whole summer is going to go? And my answer was very consistent, which is no, but it usually, to get that kind of weather in April, ends up meaning you're going to have a great June. Well, that's great. But the other kind of typical thing that happens in New England is May brings backdoor cold fronts, winds coming out of the northeast, gray skies, periods of rain. We're not there yet, all right? You go through the day tomorrow, and here comes a warm front. So again, you're getting into that rising kind of warmth and moisture coming out of the south. Here are your high temperatures into the 70s and 80s, spilling up the I-95 corridor, 60s and 70s here at home. By the time we get along about Friday, cold front approaching, not here yet. Warmth is with us. Chance of showers begins to rise. We'll take a closer look in a moment. Warmth is still in place and expanding through New England during the course of the day. Friday, some of us will climb into the 80s. So if you go day by day, and then we'll get into the weekend here in a second, you'll find the high temperatures generally in the 60s to around 70 for Thursday. Thursday night, we're talking about low temperatures likely to be running in the 40s to lower 50s. And then Friday, again, some of us making a run to 80 degrees, by the way it looks right now, even if you've got a couple showers in the morning and a chance of showers again later. Let's get into that, okay? So during the day Thursday, we talked about the smoke increasing in the latter part of the day. Well, the clouds will to some extent too. Will you be able to tell the difference? Perhaps not. We get into Friday, and look, it's a Thursday night, Friday morning warm front. It will bring showers Thursday night into Friday morning. During the day Friday, we're likely to transition into a warm sector. That means that you don't get a lot of rain during the day Friday the way it looks right now. More showers in northern New England and upstate New York. And then as the cold front approaches, that will touch off afternoon thunderstorms out of central and eastern New York State that come into western New England by our Friday evening. Again, perhaps we get not only the midday and afternoon, but even the evening in some eastern areas to be okay and warm, with an increasing wind out of the south before we bring in that cold front. Now, here's the interesting part. This is where you've got that moisture we looked at that starts to ride up out of the Gulf. You've got an area of low pressure that's going to help to focus it. Saturday, you're going to have areas of rain that'll be falling. You've got a cold front that stalls out. When the frontal boundary stalls, that puts a clash of air right over us, and that allows rain to continue to crank. So there'll be periods of rain on both weekend days. I think it's too early to nail down the exact timing on the periods of rain. But the spring in New England part is that when you get this frontal boundary setting up, we looked at the fact that you're cutting off a lot of the energy. There will be high pressure building in eastern Canada. Now, the question becomes, does it build enough to force that rain south as soon as Sunday into early next week, or do you end up stuck under the frontal boundary? Although it's early to say for sure because it's a very fine line, the New England way in May would be to get stuck under the frontal boundary. That would normally be how we do it because there's enough warmth built down across the southern United States that it's going to try and push north, and you're going to get the clash right over us. So when you look at Saturday, you can see we may still be warm. We'll see how warm it gets at 80. It might be a little optimistic at Lawrence, but bottom line is with a southerly wind, it depends. If you get enough breaks in the rain, but either way, it's mild. And then Sunday, it's cooler, right? Because that frontal boundary came through. The question is, do you get enough of this drier air to muscle south and force that rain out of New England? Probably not, but we can watch it and keep some fingers crossed for you. So look, when you put it all together and you say, okay, so wait a minute, we've got a stalling frontal boundary, we've got that energy that stalls down to the south, that's going to keep cranking out rain into early next week. Total rainfall amounts may end up on the order of 2 to 4 inches. This is an early estimate because we're looking out at 7 days, right? So you very well may see this change, but you get the idea. It's going to add up. It's all right. We need it. There's a lot of spots that still are abnormally dry or even in moderate drought. You'll be able to watch it all and see all these video updates right atop the app home screen. Noyes 1 degree outside, weather on the App Store and Google Play, and of course, all the updates on our homepage too, onedegreeoutside.com. We'll look forward to seeing you with another update before long. Hope you have a great rest of your day.